Hello, good evening. Good evening. It is a pleasure to be once again with you to speak a few words. We are studying in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 7. So, when Jeremiah trying to excuse himself from being a prophet, and he realized that he was dealing with God because, but the Lord said unto me, say not, I am a child. That was his excuse. He's a child. For thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee. So God told Jeremiah, so you will go wherever I send you. Don't play game with me, boy. I know you before you was in the belly of your mother. I know you. I formed thee. I make who you are. I make you who you are today. You know, God knows us. He knows us before we know ourselves. He knows who we are. We can lie to God. Jeremiah thought that he could lie to God. Oh, I am a child. What do you mean you are a child? I know who you are. He was 17. When God called him for that office of prophet, he was 17 years old. He was a young man. And God called him for duty. You can't just say, well, I'm a child. So what? And he says, God said to Jeremiah, I am it. He says, I shall send thee. He says, you going where I shall send you. And whatever I command thee, thou shalt speak. So a prophet of God was supposed to speak exactly what God told him to speak, what God allows him to say. You are not saying your own words. You are not speaking, lies or saying that, your own words. So you have to say what God tells you to say. He says in verse 8, God said in verse 8, be not afraid of their faces. Because Jeremiah knew that, the people that he was going to preach, they are wicked people. They are evil and wicked. And Jeremiah says, well, I'm a child. God says, don't be afraid of their faces. For I am with thee to deliver thee, said the Lord. Do not be afraid of them, of their faces. I will be with you to deliver thee, said the Lord. So when God has your back, don't worry about it. Just go. Preach the word. Tell them what God says. Don't take away. Don't add. Don't take away. Say exactly what God charged you to say. What God tells you to say, that's the only thing you have to say. You don't have to change it. Then the Lord put forth his hands and touched my mouth. Oh, yeah. And the Lord said unto me, behold, I have put my words in thy mouth. Is that beautiful? Is that beautiful? God touched Jeremiah's mouth. See, you have to be touched by God. You can't be a self-proclaimed prophet. You have to be anointed, ordained. You got to be sanctified by God in order to speak what God allows you to speak. God got to touch your mouth. So a lot of people today, they self-proclaimed prophets, God did not touch them. God did not send them. And God did not know who they are, but they just go and proclaim that, they come from God. So they proclaim themselves, they self-proclaim as being a prophet. When God says the last prophet is John the Baptist, according to Matthew chapter 11, verse 12, the last prophet was John the Baptist. There is no more prophet today. There were prophets in the Old Testament. There were prophets in the church of the New Testament century, when the Bible was not written yet. And God allows those gifts of speaking in tongues, gift of prophecy, and gift of knowledge. They were allowed in early churches. Then when the Bible is written, those gifts are done away. That's the reason why, and Paul said in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 8, he says, tongue shall be seized. And then there where they prophesied, there should be gone. There where there will be knowledge, there should vanish away. Three things remain in the church. It's faith, hope, and charity. And the greatest is charity. Hello? 1 Corinthians 13. Anyone being here now trying to be a prophet, whether they're trying to be a New Testament prophet or Old Testament prophet, is a liar. He's lying, or she's lying. There is no more prophets. The last prophet was John the Baptist. The lesson is yours. The lesson is yours. Everything I've said to you, have been proven, searched, proven by the scriptures. I did not speak my own words. I speak based on the oracles of God. I give you the scriptures. 1 Corinthians 13. Beginning at verse 8, there is no more prophets. There's no more people in the church that pretend to be a prophet or have the gift of tongues, speaking in tongues. They are just speaking jargon. There is no more speaking in tongue or knowledge. We found going to school, you got knowledge. You know how to read now. You got to go to school these days. Those gifts are no longer available in the church. The lesson is yours. My name is Minister Edwin Jean. You was listening to the Voice of the Church of Christ on 140 School Street in Brockton, Massachusetts. May God bless you. I'll catch you some other time.